Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, the lot, wherever you want to find us. And we've got an amazing guest for today. So thank you so much, Aaron, for joining me. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Like, you know, it's been a long slog. I can't remember, I feel like it was a year ago since I probably spoke with you last on here, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it was quite a while. It must have been at least 10 months, 9 months ago, which is crazy.
I do like to exaggerate, but yeah, it was a long time ago. But yeah, I can't believe we're still here. But the end is in sight. I'd like to hope, fingers crossed. So I feel like it's eased a bit of pressure off kind of the, you know, just the mindset for the future. But yeah, I mean, not much has changed probably since I spoke to you last.
That is one question I have that I haven't spoke to many people about it, but I would love to. How much confidence do you have in that we're going to be sticking to those dates of like coming out?
I mean, I'm all for like the positivity of like being like, yes, it's exciting to know there's an end date, but it all just seems a bit, especially like June 21st or whatever it is, to just suddenly be like everything back to normal. Like I'm just hearing about all the festivals and everything that's going on, which we all want to be at and go to. It just feels like that's 0 to 100 pretty quick. I thought it would just be a little bit slower, and obviously, because as much as I want to get back into the real world, I just don't want it to be messed up again and have to be back like this, because I'm done with this now. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to have all the confidence in it. You know, hopefully the vaccine and, you know, that rollout is really helping things. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm trying to stay positive for it, but I haven't got the world of faith, if I'm honest.
No, yeah, it's this tough one, isn't it? Because the thought of it is like a really amazing and beautiful thought to have that freedom. But like you said, you don't want, like, there's that like little voice in the back of your head that goes, if we just go and fucking go crazy now, then we're going to end up back here. And the point is to, like, I'd rather have little bits, and actually progressing, sticking to those times, than going backwards for like next winter being stuck inside again or something. Yeah,
and exactly that. That's my thoughts. It's a big thing to kind of get your head around. I'm also trying not to think about it. Like, I'm not really like adhering to those dates. I'm kind of just trying to still do me, still take each day as it comes, and just allow what's going on, like allowing for the change. But I'm really not thinking about it too much, because I think if you really set your sights on those dates and it doesn't go the way we plan, I feel like, you know, I'm just trying to help myself.
Yeah, I mean, expectation is, I'm sure there's like a really famous quote about expectation, but that's a root of disappointment, isn't it? If you pin too many hopes on something.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're just getting straight into it, but let's assume that we haven't done this before for a little second, and allow people who are seeing you for the first time, if they're watching on a different platform, tell us a little bit about yourself, Aaron, your journey. You know, we've done this before, so you know the kind of thing, but don't be afraid to talk about yourself. People want to know about you. And I think I remember you saying you found it quite cathartic last time. Like, we don't often speak about our journey that much.
Absolutely. Sorry, I feel like I could hear myself again. Yeah, okay, so and it's always weird talking about yourself and just kind of starting with an intro, but obviously I've been in like the kind of performing world since quite a young age. I'm a small town boy from Newquay, Cornwall, and moved away from home when I was 13. I used to be in a pop band from when I was 13 to 17, which kind of like changed my life and kind of put a stamp on me, which is hard to shake off. And then I kind of went to musical theatre college, and then worked professionally as like a dancer, choreographer type person. And yeah, had just a bit of a roller coaster of a ride along the way, with just all sorts going on, to be honest. And you know, looking back and doing a lot of these kind of like opening up and like talking about mental health more, like you realize that there's a lot of things that have kind of carved out along the way. But yeah, like, I don't know, really. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think I remember you saying, and then also seeing, I remember you saying that you, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth or misremember or anything, but that used to find it a little bit harder, maybe opening up, and you kind of, we had this talk, and then I've seen you do other lives and talk about the, you know, the S Club years a bit more openly as well. So how has that been for you, like as a journey, like just this past year? About
Yeah, actually, to be fair, I feel like definitely this year with being in like quarantine and all the lockdowns and stuff, I've definitely found a confidence from somewhere that maybe I didn't have before. I think maybe it's not a confidence. I think it's just more like I worry less, and I've probably like reevaluated my life in a sense, and probably taken, I like to say it's a bit of a reset on things, and just being like, you know, this is a time to reset and kind of just discover. It sounds a bit, you know, cheesy, but
yeah, no, it does sound a bit cliche, but isn't it for a reason, you know? Like,
yeah, I feel like I've not done it purposely. I just feel like if I look back, or if it's like, if this didn't happen, would I be doing all these lives? Would I be putting myself doing like, you know, dance videos, TikToks, whatever, like just on there for fun and passing the time away? Probably not. But I feel like now that, you know, just trying to find ways to keep busy and to also do things that I feel like are kind of good for the soul to talk about and to help others, I think it's definitely, it's been useful for me, and I've definitely found a confidence in myself that way. And like I said, it's either that or kind of just not to worry as much anymore, because I don't feel like I've got to prove myself to anyone, because I've just realized, you know, I am who I am, and, you know, not everyone's going to like you, and, you know, you shouldn't really beat yourself up about trying to be a certain way to make other people happy, or to kind of make other people think that you need to be a certain way to kind of further your career or love life or all those things.
Have you, I definitely agree, like completely. And I think that having that confidence to, you know, be yourself and whatever that means, and let other people figure that out and work that out. And you're multifaceted, that you can be multiple things that seem contradictory to some people at the same time. You know, there's amazing you know, just reassurance in that, being able to be yourself. You did mention, you mentioned TikTok, you mentioned being yourself. One of the reasons I wanted to do this again, like so soon after we're speaking, you've done some, you know, you did some posts which I really, really liked and enjoyed, because I think that there's some really careful, I don't know how to describe it. There's like situations that happen online that we have to be really careful about.
Yeah.
And some people are maybe more fragile than others. Some people, but should we talk through what happened, and then we can like unpack it and discuss?
No, like I said, I've just kind of been no stranger to doing like TikToks over the lockdown period. It's been a bit of fun. It's kind of been a new kind of, you know, app just to keep me going. I've enjoyed kind of like learning choreography from other people around the world, and just kind of keep my brain ticking over and doing kind of new dances and stuff. And then and also learning about the new generation, how they kind of are on social media, has been a bit of an eye-opener, especially because so one TikToker, you can on the app, for people that don't know the app, because I know it's kind of like love to hate app, you can basically take someone else's video and basically do like a reaction, or kind of like duet it. You could sing along with it, you can dance along with it. And then one TikToker, he had my video of me dancing, or just doing like a trend that, like, I think the trend had over like 500,000 people that had done it. So it wasn't as if like I was doing something on my own weird from anyone else. It was just, I was just copying what everyone else was doing.
Yeah, and if you were, that'd be fine too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like if you were doing,
yeah. Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Feel free to do what you want. I think it was just more of like, I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary from what the other guys were doing. And the reaction to his video was just basically kind of his face kind of spoke 1,000 words, and then obviously was just laughing at me, and obviously made like a comment at the end. And obviously,
yeah, and I've seen the video, and you know, you could argue that there's nothing technically wrong. Like they said nothing too hurtful, you know, and we're here to talk conceptually about it. We're not to throw anyone under the bus or anything like that. We just open this conversation up. But it was very clear that he was laughing with intent directly towards you.
Yeah,
it was clear. You can deny it after the fact, but
yeah, and I've never once kind of kind of had a go at him or kind of accused or anything. I just kind of like, it's pretty obvious that it had a negative, well, I don't know, like that's the way I kind of took it, even if it wasn't intended that way. When you do that kind of a reaction, it does influence a lot of other people to maybe think that way, that maybe would have had a different opinion if they saw the video somewhere else. What I wasn't cool about was the fact that the TikToker had over 9 million people, 9 million followers, and that's a big influence on a group of people. You know, something that I've never had to think about. I mean, I'm quite lucky to have a few followers, the people that like what I do, and even then I'm very cautious of what I post and what I say, and because you know there's always going to be people watching, from like little kids to, I don't know, people that just look up to you. And when I don't usually respond to things that are kind of like that, but it was what kind of was brought with the reaction video was then just because my username like instantly gets put underneath the video, and then obviously just loads of people from his following were coming onto my page and then commenting on my other videos and then commenting on the video that he used, and it just kind of just became like comment of just like laughter and hate, and it just kind of snowballed into something that I don't even think the guy that did the original TikTok thought about. And then I think also once he saw that things were kind of kicking off, he did try and put a comment saying, you know, I wasn't trying to be mean, I just thought it was funny. But it's like, even that comment to me, I couldn't really take seriously, because I just thought it's a bit of a lame excuse, I guess, because then obviously people were coming at me saying, I don't know, sorry, because then I obviously did this video that just I was really actually quite nervous about doing, but I just thought, okay, I can't be annoyed at someone that with influence and that said all that to me, and then I kind of got to use myself to kind of think, right, I know this isn't on, so I'm going to have to speak out. You know, I hate speaking out like that, because I was very careful about my words, and I wanted to make sure they were correct. And you know, I just said that when you've got that many followers, you're essentially influencing all those people to think or feel or laugh with you. If you were laughing at me, well, then obviously then you're going to make everyone else laugh at me. And I just thought it was just not a very clever thing to do when you've got that many followers, because, you know, and I then looked at his page, and the more I looked into it, it's like he does this to a lot of people, and I'm pretty strong in that department. I'm kind of like got thick skin when it comes to social media and being in that kind of world. But I just thought, you know, it could instantly happen to like someone that's not as strong or quite weak, and you know, they may be struggling in something that we don't know about, and then if then all that influence gets put onto them, I don't know how they would cope with all the comments and just, you know, the response. I just thought, this can't go on, and it can't, obviously I know I can't perform a miracle and make all this end, but I just was like, I need to start somewhere, and someone's got to say something. And luckily, like, a lot of people did, you know, were on my side, and they thought, you know, good for you speaking up. A lot of people were saying, like, you know, it's been a while, that someone should have done this. But what I was most shocked about was just loads and loads of people just were like, you're weak, you need to like, I can't believe you're taking this seriously, you shouldn't be on this app if you can't take a joke. He was only laughing at you. He even said in his comments, it was just a joke, it's just laughing. But I was like, guys, you're all missing the point here with this. Like, I'm obviously not personally offended, it's not hurting me, it's just the overall thing of what an influencer or someone with that much following on TikTok and then doing those types of videos can do to another person. Like, it's clearly not on. And I just was like, just amazed by how people were saying things like, oh, like it's only a few trolls, like everyone, you shouldn't be on this if you can't like, take a few trolls, or, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're basically normalizing bullying and trolling and just saying, well, you got to accept it because that's just the way life is now. But I'm like, yeah, but we've created this to be okay, and it's not on. Like, I'm trying to like say, you know, think before you post, be kind, you know. It's always something really, really, really bad happens that then people go, oh God, yeah, we need to do better and be kind. But like, it should be just all day, every day for the rest of time to feel that way and to think twice. And, you know, it was just really was an eye-opener for me, because I just couldn't believe that many people agreed with, well, I guess there is followers, but I just was like, you're not seeing why I've done this post. They just thought I was like upset and was like playing the victim. And I was like, it's literally not that.
Yeah. But it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to get that across. That's why I really wanted to do this conversation and speak about it, because it's really hard to get that across in a whatever, however long a TikTok can be, you know.
minute, yeah.
TikTok is, when you're doing a video like that, it's almost like marketing. You know, you have to get to the key points. You don't get to explain both sides of the story. You don't get to talk about the nuances. And obviously, it's probably going to come across like that because it's easy for you to be biased if you're the victim in not playing the victim, but you're the one that's being laughed at in this sense. It's easy for people to look at you and go, oh, he's playing the victim, or obviously you're going to think like that. But it doesn't really matter who it is, and I agree with you like 1,000%. One of my pet hates is when, no matter if people think it's funny or they always, I seem to see it a lot. Like people record people on public transport and they'll like laugh at their shoes, or they'll do, you know, they'll make whatever it is. It can be something really small, and it can be something that's annoying, like to everyone, but they're still like pointing at random people and shaming them or laughing at them, and I personally hate that. That's one of my pet hates.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of that, you know, it's an extrapolated point of like school ground bullying, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. It's not the most malicious thing in the world. It's not. But the fact that the great point that you're trying to make is that if somebody is already like really likes you, really follows you, then they don't necessarily, the general masses don't bring in their own moral compass, and they'll just be more reactive and go and strip away the empathy that there's another human being at the end of every comment, every account, you know. And it's easy to be on the outward side of it, but if the tables are turned and things are coming back at you, then how does it actually feel, you know? Like, how can you laugh at yourself if you're receiving all that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, like I said, I was cool with it. It was like, it went on for about a week where I would obviously just open the app, and honestly it was just constant comments, like, and it's hard to kind of ignore, because you just want to read, you just want to see what people say. And it's just, there was no way of ignoring it for me unless I just didn't go on the app for like over a week or whatever. And I did try and respond to as many comments that I felt that, you know, like, to try and just put which again, I don't like doing, because it just, everybody wants to be right and always have the last laugh kind of thing, which again is not really what you do on social media, because it's just so easy to keep pressing send, keep pressing the message. And I didn't want to do that. But at the same time, I just was like, like you said, you only get a minute, but I really wanted to show that I wasn't offended. I'm not upset. I'm not trying to then reverse it and have all my followers go at him. Like, if anyone wrote anything bad about him, I'd delete it off my page, because I didn't want it to look like he was being trolled. I literally just wanted the point to be made that if you've got that kind of a following, you should really be thinking what you're posting. Like, but I guess it's also, and the thing is, the more I found out about this guy as well, I found out that he's a YouTube person as well, that he'd done a whole video about being bullied as a kid. And I just found that, like, I know, again, it's like, he's not physically bullying me, he's not saying things, but like, surely something would have resonated with him and made him think, oh God, yeah, like, if you think about it, it is a form of bullying through the channels of an app. Do you know what I mean? And what he does. And then, you know, I've seen him on the BBC doing things about talking about mental health and things. And I just think, you know, if you've got if you're going to be on those platforms talking about those things, even more you should be thinking about what you post. Because it's a massive contradiction.
Yeah, I think it becomes really, really difficult and a real grey area when we start speaking about, you know, like, obviously I try and do my best at speaking about mental health, but I'm also not perfect, you know. I'll put myself out there to be vulnerable and to be corrected and to learn and try and do better, you know. And I think that's a good place to be, and to be vulnerable and be able to be corrected and go, oh shit, I didn't mean it like that, or, you know, and be accountable and like apologize and you know, how powerful would it have been if he'd turned around and said, you know what, I had never really thought about it like that, and, you know, and then there would have been a much better outcome to the story. But from what I've heard, like, I don't really know very well, but that's where he got a lot of his following from, is you know, doing the same sort of videos to other people, which, and it's more of a sad thing, you know, when we talk about the word celebrity or popular, or people, influencers. What are we actually celebrating? It's a difficult concept. What are we celebrating? What if we think of the traditional sense of what celebrity is, what qualities do they have that we're celebrating? And it's a real difficult one, because anyone bringing awareness to mental health and sharing their story, I think, is a positive thing. And I don't want to say, I would never want to assume that just because somebody's done something wrong that they didn't mean what they were saying at the time. But I also think you have to fucking consider what you're doing. Like, you have a responsibility of what you're putting out.
Yeah, it's like practice what you preach. Like, that's how I kind of saw it. And I think the thing is, like you said about, we're all learning each day. Like, I feel like the only thing that I probably would have done differently is I would have directly reached out to him first. But I kind of feel like, with 9 million followers, and the TikTok isn't actually you can't really speak to people on an app privately unless you get them to follow you. And I just was like, it's a bit late now. It's like I'm getting all this abuse and I don't know how, I'm not going to just press follow and wait for him to follow me back so I can send him a message. I kind of just was like, with my video response, it would kind of eye-opener, because I wasn't mean or nasty. I just kind of really chill spoke, that you don't have to like me or my content, or I'm pretty, I tried to be pretty easy about it. But I think, the right way of going about it, I probably should have contacted him directly, but I kind of, for me, the damage was done. It was escalating quite quickly. But I think if I did do it, I probably would have reached out to him personally and direct messaged him, or found a way of getting hold of him before I put my video up, just to see if he could take it down, or maybe. But then if I did do that privately, still 9 million people had seen it, and I kind of still wanted to put my message across. So I don't know.
I thought that. You did what you thought was right at the time. And I think that it's an important message for people who are going to agree with it, or for at least, the thing is, you're going to have people who are, it's horrible to say this word, but potentially loyal to what he does, or what he does. So he could put anything out, even if it was morally degrading or quite vicious and they're going to agree with it. They're not going to do a second thought. But there's this male group of people that, I've maybe fallen upon it quite casually, and thought that there were some things that he did were good or funny, and maybe the video that you've done has really made them consider, and that's why it's important to put that out there. Yeah,
and I think, like you say, there was a lot of his following up, and it was just kind of like playground stuff of well, we're his friends, so we're going to back him, whatever he does, kind of thing. And so, but I was happy that a lot of people were still very supportive of me, and kind of were like, I'm glad you've called him out, and it was just, because I felt like part of me did the right thing, and it's forgotten about already. Do you know what I mean? It's like that was last week. So, but I'm glad that I managed to have my say, and no one was hurt. But I just worry for the people, because he could have done that to anyone, because that obviously with TikTok, even if you follow people, you don't have to follow someone to see their content. It just randomly comes up if it's kind of like doing okay. So essentially, he could see anybody from around the world and go, oh, I can do something funny to that, but then he might not know about them. And like I said, that's where you don't know who you're going to be speaking about, and it could really affect them. And, the consequences could be fatal.
Yeah. And that's the scary thought, isn't it? I know you said that you're fine and it doesn't affect you, but you're putting out some content that, I imagine is stuff that you enjoy, stuff that you feel is like yourself and that you want to put out. There must be some, we are human nature, like you said, you can't help but reading. There must be something that just makes it feel a little bit uncomfortable, or do you feel like that because you've been in the spotlight, like with S Club and stuff before, that you're used to that kind of thing?
I definitely am used to it, which is why it doesn't affect me that much. But like I said, it's obviously going to niggle at me, and obviously I'm a bit obviously, because I just know that it's that kind of that team mentality of that. For him, they were just kind of just ganging up. But like I said, it is true in the sense of I don't have to put myself on the app. I don't have to put myself on social media or online or out there for people to comment. And that is a choice you make. So I feel like I can't be too upset about it. But then at the same time, you shouldn't expect the bad things. That's even me saying that I'm allowing trolls and normalizing. I hate myself that I said that. But at the same time, I guess, I have got a thick skin, and for that kind of stuff. I mean, I can just tolerate it, but yeah, like you say, I think if I got that every single day, yeah, it probably would have an effect, because I guess you start believing that. And I think if it was just constant, maybe I've just been very lucky in the sense of throughout my career, I've always had quite a positive reaction to things that I post, and I've been quite supportive. And then for me, it's just kind of like, oh, well, you know, it's just one of those things. And I've kind of, but at the same time, I knew that this isn't okay, and I wanted to speak out about it, because I know that if someone else had what I'd had, it wasn't nice. I think it was just the influx of nasty things that was just a bit overwhelming. And
yeah, when it's so like so much so quickly, it's like, what is going on? Like anything, you'd be the same if it was something positive, you know, all of a sudden you'd be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I used to love Twitter as a social media platform. I think there's only a small period of time when I was tweeting a lot, but to read it, you know, short bits of just words, I guess, or, you know, people communicating via words. But there's very normalized on there to be directly aggressive and horrible to other people, you know, anonymous accounts and saying stuff. And do you know what makes me more sad about it is that, you know, there's the fact that that's allowed to go on, and it's quite normal. It doesn't surprise you. That's bad enough. But when you actually think of the empathetic side of things of these people who are doing it, or sat at their keyboards and actually think about them typing it out, is how much like hurt and anger they must have inside, and like the world has potentially wronged them, or the situation that they're in. Yeah, you know, that makes me sad, honestly.
Absolutely. Like I said, when I went through the comments on the post that I did, that pretty much 90% of everyone that did it had no kind of content, literally not even a video. So they're on the app purely just to watch what goes on and to comment on things that they feel, but like putting themselves out there, they don't even have that. They don't risk that. I guess they just wouldn't risk it because they know what they're doing is kind of wrong, and they wouldn't want that to happen to themselves, which makes you think, like, should you be doing it if you're scared to put your own content out there? Because it's a free for all, like on the app. So if you're scared to yourself to post, why are you scared? And if it's because you're worried about what people say, well, then why are you saying things? Do you know what I mean? That's what I couldn't get my head around.
Yeah, there's a real security blanket in that sort of thing. And Absolutely. it just made me think of, you know, when you're dealing with that, and say if he's got 10 times more followers than you, then you're actually like working within an echo chamber. You're not working, you're not having a rounded conversation with a sample group of people that are from all different walks of life, you know. So it's always going to be a losing battle. Yeah. And I think that, you know, there's ideas that could be done of, you know, how amazing would it be if you two got to sit down face to face and have a conversation about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And then see what the general public think about it. And 9 out of 10 people would agree with the point you're making, especially. So go on, sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, I know it was a losing battle, really, because whatever I said, there was always an answer to, like, basically telling me to shut up. But I think the comments that I did appreciate was, like, some people literally were just honest and were like, you know what, like, I've been thinking that his content's changed, or it's kind of become a little bit malicious. And I appreciate, like, someone needed to speak up, because I think people are scared to do that, because you're essentially coming up against someone with a big following, and it's like you don't feel like you're going to be heard, so you don't bother to try it. And then actually, even other people that had it done to them commented on my post and was like, yeah, he did this to me, and I just feel like, even if that was just a handful of people that it made a difference to, and felt that we kind of united in some little way, it was a step in the right direction. Because, you know, and I think that's what I wanted to achieve. I just didn't want to stay silent, because at the end of the day, I don't care who he is or how many followers he's got. Like, what was done was wrong, and I wasn't afraid to air my views. But I think some people would be, because they just know that they could be silenced, or just the mass of him could just, and his followers could kind of shut them down. It would obviously stop them from posting or something.
Yeah, they're fearful of attracting more of the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's a risk. It's definitely a risk of putting something out there that could attract more ridicule. But like I said before, and like kind of you echoed the point of, is that you said you don't care how many followers you got, but when you walk into a room or when you've got two people sat next to each other, it doesn't mean anything in real life. It doesn't. No. It literally doesn't mean anything. So that's why it's actually more of a a burden, and should be carried with more responsibility. And unfortunately, people seem to want that. They want a big audience, and then when they've got it, what do they want to use it for? A lot of people. I don't want to generalize too much, but when you see people grow and get to that point, then it's potentially to make some money, right? Or sell some products and do some things that they don't necessarily believe in. I don't know.
Well, I did see one of his posts on his Instagram, because I was just curious about the guy, really. And one of his posts was like, when he reached, I think, 1 million followers, he did like a big post and was just like, I can't believe, from being like a boy that was bullied, I can finally be who I want to be now, and look at what I've achieved, and the fact it's like he'd won the lottery, like a life-changing experience. And I'm like, the fact that you consider followers being like that, and you've achieved that from being bullied, it just kind of was just a bit mental to kind of like read, and that's his aspirations to be there. And I just think when you get that so quickly, I mean, like, I know I guess it is fame in some way, or to them, because I know that's just that generation wants at the moment, because they know it equals free stuff, money, maybe a career in God knows what. But I don't know, like, it's just no one can prepare you for what it brings. And I think that's one of the things. Like, I don't think anyone's taught him that, like, having that many followers, you are an influencer of like good and bad, and you've got to really think about what you post, because all these people are just gaining these followings from their bedrooms with no like manager or team around them. For some people it's literally just raw, and they're not really that experienced in the kind of the world yet, and maybe that's what the problem was here. It's just kind of a fame seeking thing that kind of just he doesn't really know how to handle yet. That I just think he needs to learn, really, because he's got the following now, so I think he just needs to be a bit more careful with how he approaches his content.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of different ways to look at it. I think that I personally think that, maybe I'm wildly optimistic, but you see it from the new generation. You see both sides of this of the coin of people wanting to gain traction. You also get people other side of things where everyone's getting cancelled, and everyone's and I don't agree with either. I think that people make mistakes and should be allowed to make up for them, be accountable, and I don't think that doing one thing wrong should make everyone abandon them or whatever. But I also think it's dangerous to do anything you can to get a bigger following.
Agreed.
Yeah, so it is dangerous, but the point I'm making is I think the longevity is going to come from a moral place. I think that people eventually will see through stuff that's potentially a little bit mean, and you just expect better from someone, because I don't want to assume that anyone would be lying. It sounded like he did get bullied, and unfortunately, if you've been the victim of something, I've been the victim of things before. You can, if you haven't worked through it or spoke through it, you can pick up some of those traits out of like a defense mechanism. That is a real thing. Not that I'm a therapist. I'm just
I totally agree. And like, I totally, I always hold my hands up if anything, if I do something wrong, or like, so I learn it from another perspective. Like, I just think it's kind of, you never know how to handle a situation, especially if it's like one of the first, like this was a first for me, and I wasn't sure if I, handled it correctly. That's why I said if he's got a point to make, that he was felt victimized in a certain way, like I'd want to apologize and just say, well, I was just getting my point across, and there was no harm to you, or I didn't want you to feel trolled. He actually doesn't. I don't know how it works on TikTok, but like I actually can't see his profile anymore. Like I think he's put me on like a restricted viewing thing, which is fine by me because I don't want to see his stuff anyway. But he must have it's affected him in some way that he doesn't want me to see his stuff anymore. But it's ironic because obviously he used mine. But you'd think it would be the other way around. And I just don't bother with that kind of stuff because I just think it's petty. Like, I've said my piece and just want to move on. But yeah, it's one of those things.
It is difficult. What you know? Not let's potentially stop talking about him as a specific now. Let's talk about more general.
Yeah.
Somebody who's got a big following, and you know, big is subjective, right? So people who are sat here watching could say that you've got a big following.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone, or what do you think about when you're putting stuff out there?
Well, I honestly can say that, like, you know, I've not been clean sailing my whole social media experience from, because again, I've posted stupid things when I was younger and didn't think about it, and because you don't think about the consequences and what it can do. But I guess through like just learning and making mistakes, I've been, you know, a lot more aware now for when I post, because it's just not worth it. Even having a rant, sometimes it's not worth it, or kind of saying things that potentially could influence the way people think or over others, or like just a video, or, you know, I know we all love a meme, especially like during these times when we just want a bit of a laugh. Like, we're all guilty of laughing at someone else, but I'm kind of like, now that this has kind of happened, I would definitely think like, well, you know, what was the intent behind it? And obviously, if it's just something funny where the people that are involved are laughing at themselves, or it's just one of those kind of like clumsy accidents that is just like, you know, it's one of those things. So it does make me think differently about it all now. And I just think, when you post, how would you feel if it was you on the receiving end of what you're posting? And I just think that's the easiest thing as advice to think about, because, you know, you probably wouldn't want to be at the tail end of all that, have the world laughing at you. So yeah. I think, you know, and also sometimes the person, 9 times out of 10, like, the person doesn't get tagged in the meme, or like you never actually know who that person is that you're laughing at, and you don't go searching for them. And whereas I just found with this also, like, my name was there and it was just easy access to just come from me. So I think especially on TikTok, where you're putting someone's details there next to it. That's why I was even more kind of, it got me up, just because I was like, you know, you're influencing them to go that way. So just definitely think twice. But like I said, that would be my biggest advice, is just would you like it done to you? Yeah.
I think there's definitely you've got to think about what you're putting out there, and like, even when you're putting out stuff, you know, the highlights of yourself and the best bits, everyone deserves to feel good and put stuff out where you feel good. But you know, just say it, speak about it, like, make it, normalize it. Look, this is me took a 20 shots to get this good shot that I was comfortable with. You know, a bit of humility, I think, always goes a long way, and it doesn't detract from how good you look in the photo that you post, if you want to use a filter or whatever. You know, whatever my opinion is to retouching and filters is irrelevant. People are going to do it. People are going to use it. Just, you know, I think that human touch of knowing that comparison is a really prevalent thing now, whether we like it or not, whether we meant to go this direction or not. It's tricky times online.
Yeah, and I think you're right with the whole kind of, like, you know, making a joke or just kind of be lighthearted about it. You know, it just, and own up to, like, if you use a filter, like, I'm literally like, of course I use a filter. Like, you don't want to see me like rolling out of bed and got to be on camera, or like, you know, if I've got like a spot or something, of course that needs to go, kind of thing. Because it's just one of those things where, like, I'll hold my hands up always, and just because then you can't be judged, and you're not going to open up to that kind of
No. And one of the things we spoke about last time, one of the main topics was, may I say, it looks incredible. We spoke about your hair and stuff like that. And the transparency of your journey with that. You're putting me to shame, mate. There, I need to get there.
Yeah, no, like, and I definitely think there's a lot of people out there that, I don't want to sound like, you know, I feel like I'm influencing so many people, but being more honest in myself, I've definitely received a lot more messages and support from people that have kind of just maybe seen me in a different light, and it's been like, you know, it's very lovely to see and read, and you know, just actually be able to have conversations with those people, and because you feel like you've helped, and it's a very nice feeling to do that just by speaking out. And you know, I don't feel like I'm doing much apart from just being honest, and you know, the fact that even just that is helping others kind of just makes you want to do it more, because you just get a good feeling about it, especially when there's been so much doom and gloom past year. Like, it's a really nice thing, and you know, it's pushed me to do other things in life. Like, I've just finished it's like a 6-7 week course volunteering for a charity, where I've learned how to be on the helplines for young people. So, you know, it's just kind of how to deal with listening, and people that, you know, obviously going through numerous things in life. You know, there's suicidal thoughts, their mental health, if they're struggling at uni, they're, you know, some real deep, dark stuff, which I just feel like, obviously I've kind of stepped forward in learning all about that. But, you know, it's been really like interesting to learn, and the fact that now I can be at the other end of the phone, and I've just felt selfish having all this time, and I want to put it to good use. And I just feel like, you know, I've obviously taken the little seed from, you know, being honest and helping others, and it's just made me go and do something like this. And I just feel it's been such a learning experience, and you know, to be able to help others or just guide them, because I'm basically like signposting and supporting them to like further organizations or charities or support systems or counseling or something like that. But, you know, just to help others, it's definitely a humbling experience that, you know, this whole experience, I feel like, has made me a bit of a different person.
Yeah, mate. And that's amazing. So congrats and thank you for doing that, you know. And I think that what's important you said about is like recognizing that, you know, you're an intermediary, and sometimes it's easier to open up to someone who's not like top of their game, counselor, therapist. It's sometimes nice to have that middle ground, and which you are now being, because you're trained to do so. And I think that listening is so important.
Yeah, and also it's like, yes, sorry, I was going to say, like, you know, I can do things like this, and because we do it on social media, it can look like I'm just being like, you know, I want to help others, but whereas like obviously the course I do, I'm not myself. I'm just a voice at the other end of the phone. I'm volunteering my time, so I'm not doing it for like the clout kind of thing. It's just I want to do it for like, I'm just a voice, and it's helping. It's like, I don't, because I know there's a lot of ways that it can be seen, but
yeah, and that is the difficult thing, I think. One, I definitely don't think that. One, I think if I speak about myself, I think I've got a great, you know, moral understanding for if people are being self-serving, if they come onto mental health, for example. But you're back on. I've asked you back on because of how much I think that you're a great person and authentic, for one. But for two, it's difficult because you're giving your time to others. You should speak about it. You should be proud of it. You should, you know what I mean? Like, if people are gonna, and it doesn't really matter the intention, as long as the good work is being done. Like, no one's, you know, you're not clocking the hours and putting the stopwatch on and then posting it every time you do some volunteering work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always get worried about that. You know, if somebody's in, you know, two scenarios for you. If somebody is going to go out and pick up litter, but they're not motivated to do it unless they post about it, what's the better option?
No, you're right. That's a good little analogy, that.
Yeah, because the litter only gets picked if they post, and I want that to happen. So fucking big up on you for posting about it and keeping yourself accountable and doing something. And I agree. There's like always two sides of the stories, that people can be doing things not from a good place just to look good. But I think that transcends this whole conversation, doesn't it? Of like, mental health is a tricky concept in general, because I know that businesses see it as, you know, an opportunity now.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a bit of what do you call it? You know, I can't remember the word, but basically like a power word. You know what I mean. I can't remember the right word to use for it. Which is difficult, isn't it? Because you don't want it to become that, but you want it to be spoke about. And I also don't want, you know, when we were speaking earlier about when we were speaking about memes earlier, I don't want to be able to not ever have jokes and laugh anymore. You know, I swear I like to have a joke and laugh about things, but you do see things sometimes, and you laugh for a few times, and then you see something and go, "This is why these kind of memes are problematic." And you go, "I never really thought about it like that." You know, to do with like people trying to lose weight from the 21st of June, and you don't know what people have been through, you know, mentally, or you know, even what, you know. So, and then people are watching all this stuff about taking the piss out of themselves for being overweight by the 21st of June, and it's like, you've got through some hard shit this year. You know, you don't have to be hard on yourself.
Exactly. Like, and also, it's just like by going out on the 21st of June, we don't need the pressure of all having to look amazing, because it's just, again, it's like we've built it up to be that we have to look a certain way for that date, and it's even worse. Like, not just in life now, for that one date. Do you know what I mean? It's all gone a bit crazy, but no, I agree with what you're saying, and obviously, like, I'm the same. I'm not going to laugh at a meme anymore, but I think it definitely made me think twice, and also, you don't have to share them all. Like, I don't want because you know, I just think, you know, you can have a little laugh to yourself, and that doesn't hurt anyone. It's when you just start to kind of, you know, put that out there, which is again the whole thing of like, think before you post, because that I definitely do now. That is happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting, because I think there's having that responsibility of the right things to joke about is really hard. And I was watching it today, so that's why it's fresh in my mind. But I was watching Friends earlier today, and you know, I personally think Friends is funny, you know, but I also understand that it's a period piece now, and some of the stuff in it is actually problematic when you watch it, and you watch it again now recently, and you go, fuck, I never thought of it. I saw it like that then, which is a positive thing, because it shows social change, you know. So I like it for that, but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna boycott it or cancel it. I just know that, you know, the producers and where society was at that time wasn't as progressive as it is now.
Absolutely,
that's my take on it anyway. But
no, I agree, because I'm the same. I wouldn't boycott, and I'm a Friends fan as well, and I do watch it going, oh, that wouldn't slide now. But at the same time, I still can appreciate it's a different time, and you know, it just because it's being played now doesn't, like, it's done a long time ago. But I guess it's just for like a new generation to watch. That's why I know the new generation, like, what is Friends? They do not get it at all. Like, they don't find it funny. But you know, you can't take it away from us. We still enjoy it. But like you say, you know, hopefully by society changing, and we've matured enough to know what's right and wrong. But you don't need to take it away from us. We just wouldn't repeat that or kind of further those, you know, jokes or.
No. If something was created now from the same place, it just wouldn't. I wouldn't even find it funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't.
What sitcoms are created now?
God, I don't know. Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, it's definitely a different kind of format of, like, it's more like it's definitely changed from that kind of humor of kind of maybe taking the piss out of others. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of,
because I love, you know, like, In-Betweeners reminds me of my school years, but I guess that the stuff that you couldn't get away with the stuff in that now. You
could not know that I mean, it's hard because it's you sound like, the more you talk about it, you're like, oh my god, I just can't laugh at anything anymore. But no, I think it's what you do with
part, because
it's what you do with the information and how you put that onto your life. Like, and I think especially with social media, that is putting things out to people that, you know, that you don't even know, or you know what they're going through. Whereas if I was going to share it with my friends, at least I know that I know my friends a lot more than I know my followers, kind of thing. So I just think it's definitely one to be careful with social media and putting it out there, because I think, you know, we're mature in the situation, but you know, in our own private circles and amongst friends, I think you can be a bit more relaxed, which is, if you remember, it's just the way life was before social media. So
but it's a good lesson to learners in about know your audience, and reminder to yourself that you do not know your audience. You know, you can't know that many people. You can't. It's impossible. No. I don't know, you know, subjectively, again, I've not got a lot of followers, even mental health, for example, but I don't know every follower on mental health. There's like 800 people, you know. I don't think I know that many people in real life, you know.
Absolutely.
you get numb to it as numbers, don't you, to know that they are actually people.
Yeah, but it's like when the first day of work, or you meet a new group of people. It's like you need to judge the room. You don't just go out with your jokes, or because you don't know what people have been through, and it could be quite offensive to some people purely just because of what they've gone through. And I just think it's finding that kind of.
And we've all fucking put our foot in it. Life.
Oh yeah.
So many times, and we need to remember that feeling when we're putting stuff out to people that we don't know, I think.
And that's the thing, because essentially you are probably putting your foot in it, but you just don't get the reaction because it's behind a screen. So don't put your foot through the screen.
Yeah, there needs to be a new saying or something going on there. But yeah, I think we're almost out of time. That took up most of the hour, mate. But I think it was a really, like I said before, really valuable discussion to actually speak about it from and show your consideration, that you looked at it from every angle. You've looked about what you could do better. You've looked at about it that you've not even been like, this guy's a dickhead. You haven't even been like that, and a lot of people could be. Yeah, and I felt and things that I have seen like that on. I have seen kind of like the wars begin on social media and stuff. I knew that I was never going to be that person. I'm not that person in real life, let alone not social media kind of thing. So I was very careful about it, and I tried to do what I thought was right. But hopefully it won't escalate to anything more. And like I said, I would happily sit down with him or speak to him if he ever wants to chat. Like, I'm open to do that, because I feel like you just need to. It's just like you live and you learn, and you grow from it. Like, I'm not. Everyone makes mistakes, but like you said, you think people should be able to make them, and obviously as long as they acknowledge and hold their hands up and apologize, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've all done it. What a great series that would be if we could put together like people online, bring people face to face who've had like online beef, and get them to talk it out and like find common ground. I mean, I don't think that would happen. You'd have to pay people a lot of money to do that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I bet there's somewhere that would be thinking that would be a good TV show. Yeah, that would be good. But it has to be from a learning point of view, I think. And it probably would come to a better resolution face to face anyway. People are not gonna, especially when the cameras are on anyway. Yeah, absolutely. And because you don't, because there's no people. There's no other voices or backups or anything. It's just you and how you as a person. Right, Aaron, we're almost out of time, mate. But I don't know if you did. I wonder if I asked you this last time. I tried to normalize this question when speaking to men, so you might have know what's coming. But the question is a bit like out of the blue from what we've just been speaking about. But I'm just going to go with it anyway because I like this question. Okay. And I like the response that people always give me, because it's so interesting. I'm just going to ask you when the last time you cried was. Watching It's a Sin. That was the last time I cried. God. I've only watched the first episode and it was amazing, so I need to go and finish it. Prepare to cry, my friend. Prepare. Oh, I'm a crier as well. So I will. Honestly, it was like a proper heart-wrenching sobbing, which I've not actually couldn't remember the last time I've done that. Like, proper got me. It's a very important story that is told in such a special way. Of I don't know, the acting's a bit brilliant, and I just think it was definitely a great piece of work that needed to be shown. And I think it's it really got me. So did you cry from a point of view where you felt like you could relate, or you felt grateful from the people that come before you, or what kind of thing? I think it was just everything. It just was like, it was obviously very sad what was going on. You then think about your own life. You think about how society's changed. You think about the people you've got around you, think about the people you lost. It honestly touches on so many things. I think it just sends you into an emotional state where you kind of open up yourself. Well, I just sat there on the sofa, just proper crying into the. It feels good. Sometimes, right? Feels good.
Yeah, and it's weird because and obviously I wanted to tell others to watch it, and obviously have a bit of a release, and it definitely feels good to cry, and no one should ever be ashamed to admit that, really. And obviously that was a TV show, but other than that, I can't remember.
No, mate, that's a very valid answer.
Yeah.
It's a Sin on, is it ITV?
No, I think it's, oh God, I think it's E4.
Channel 4, it's Channel 4, it's Channel 4, yeah.
Channel 4. E4
E4 player, Channel 4, whatever it's called. It's a Sin. Go check it out. I think it's like a 5-6 part series.
Yeah, it's only, I think it might be just 5. But yeah, it's easily watched. It's not too long.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for coming back on. Great discussion. Loved every second of it. Any last words from you? As always, thanks for having me. I think it's great what you do each week. It's lovely to see as a friend, and also just it's great for everyone to, the following's building, and you're doing a great thing, speaking about it, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and just keep doing you. Thank you so much, brother. All right. My pleasure. Bye, everyone. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye. See you later. Bye.